Attention, please.
And now, it's Cutter's Rockcast.
You know when you're a kid and you're in your bedroom and you're listening to music and you look on your walls and you've got posters everywhere? At least that's how my bedroom was. My bedroom was just littered with posters. It was all Metallica and Guns N' Roses and Megadeth and Anthrax and Pantera, Black Crowes and, all that kind of stuff. Alice in Chains and Stone Temple Pilots, and the list goes on, right? But there are a couple that were dominant. Metallica was dominant, GNR was dominant, Alice in Chains were dominant, and so was Megadeth. When I started playing guitar at the ripe old age of 10 years old, Megadeth quickly became a huge influence. It was Metallica and then Megadeth. And Dave Mustaine, man, he was the man. I remember getting Countdown to Distinction on cassette tape, yes, cassette tape, and wore it out. But I had that thing memorized from front to back. Rust in Peace ended up being the first ever CD I owned because I bought it from a kid in 8th grade. Dude, I saved up all summer, too, to buy a CD player. Over the years, I've been able to have plenty of conversations with Dave Mustaine of Megadeth, and he never ceases to amaze me. He's always been really nice to me. And I know the stories are out there about him not being such a nice guy. But as we begin this conversation this week with Dave Mustaine from Megadeth, I think that will prove otherwise. Megadeth's new album called The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead is going to be out September 2nd. So here it is. Check out my latest conversation for Cutter's Rockcast, and thank you again for cranking this up and showing us the support. Subscribe, leave a review, whatever you want to do, share it with your friends, all good. Rockcast episode 291 with Dave Mustaine of Megadeth.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, Dave. A long time. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. The last tour that you guys just did, the show that I went to, Sneaky Dave Mustaine handing out guitar picks to kids while Trivium's playing. Good on you, man. You brought some smiles to some faces.
Thank you. It was just a spur of the moment kind of thing. I didn't plan on doing that. I saw the little guys. They looked adorable, and I think it's so easy to be a nice guy, but people, they just don't want to. They're just so caught up in just playing like these hard asses all the time, and. Smiling or being a nice guy, and being where I was sitting in the chair when the little guy goes, oh, his face went, oh, but inside he was going, oh my God, it's like saying all these bad words and stuff, like, oh, whatever. And his brothers looking at him, and the two of them were playing back and forth. It was really cool. Anyways, I could talk for an hour about that.
Well, what's funny is those two particular guys, and I see those guys at shows all the time, and I know their dad, and they go to all the shows. They were sitting behind us at the Knotfest Road show. That kid's on the back of the seat singing every single word. They're metalheads, man, and it's really cool to have, a guy like Dave Mustaine handing guitar picks. They must have been in seventh heaven. Anyway, that was good on you. Let's talk The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead, the brand new Megadeth album out, of course, on September 2nd. New song, Soldier On. That's the latest single. Listening to the few songs that you've had out from this, I think it's the 119th Megadeth album, right?
It feels like it.
The 16th Megadeth record, which will be out September 2nd. There's a theme going on here, David. I can't help but think it has something to do with your battle with cancer a couple years ago.
Actually, no.
Okay.
Not too much. What I see, personal stuff like that for me, I try and remember that not everyone out there is going to have experienced cancer. So, you can share your experience with it, but if you start, getting too heavy and stuff like that, you start to kind of leave people, not alienate them. That's the wrong word for doing stuff like that. When you take a certain religious, political, or sports stance, that's when you start to really alienate people. But I think, sometimes you can make decisions and sadly cut your audience in half because of what you do. Got to be real careful with that stuff.
Yeah, you do. You've said words in the past that have definitely divided people, but you and I have had conversations for years, Dave, and you've always been straightforward, if anything else. And I always love that about you and respect it.
I try to be.
So, okay, because and the reason I think that, you listen to the songs like Soldier On or We'll Be Back or whatever, and you get this sort of feeling of, keep it on, keep it on. So I think that's why my brain went there. But I guess dive a little bit further into, specifically the song Soldier On, but maybe the theme as a whole.
For Soldier On actually is a very peculiar twist to the lyric. A lot of people think certain things about my lyrics over the years, and I always feel remiss when I tell them what the song is about, because it all of a sudden puts the listener into a shoebox where the fantasy, if you will, or their imagination all of a sudden has been somewhat limited, maybe the adverse, where it blows their mind. Soldier On was about me having to make a terrible decision. In real life, this is in real life what the song was about. I had to make a decision to walk away from some people that I was working with. It's been pretty well popular. It has been very popular as of late, things that are going on in the Megadeth camp with personnel and with endorsements and stuff. And I've always been open about what's going on with my company and with my career, so that fans can learn from that. And, I'm set. My career is set. I'm happy. I can die happy. And I feel right now that, the best thing I can possibly do with the rest of my life, besides love my family and be the best friend and partner I can with my band, is to be a philanthropist and give my time to our fans, help not only teach them how to be a better musician, but, give them some life lessons too about some of the dumb stuff I've done.
The band Megadeth and the name Dave Mustaine have always been synonymous with each other, of course, and you've had various people in the band over the years. What is it about this current lineup of Megadeth that gets you excited?
A lot of stuff. There's the tremendous ability of the performers, but there's also the people themselves. When I had spoken to Kiko in the very beginning, we went out to lunch and we came back to my house and I got on the telephone and he picked up an acoustic, and his audition was very much like my audition in Metallica. He was playing acoustic in the background while I was talking, and I made my mind up just by listening to him play, because of his personality. We had a lot of things in common, and sadly, when you get in a situation like that, you can't do everything you need to do in the first meeting. So some of it was a little bit of a risk. Some of it was, going on your gut and just having faith in the process. And, the same thing with Dirk. When he came in, he wasn't hired as a replacement for Chris Adler, because we didn't know if Chris Adler was even going to play with us or not. Chris was going back and forth if he was going to do the Lamb of God thing or not. And as it was, it didn't pan out for either party with Chris, and that's okay, because Chris introduced us to Dirk, and I remembered Kiko and I were very happy because the two of us knew we were putting something really great together. Now, of course, our previous bass player was still here at the time, but didn't really have much to do with the decision of hiring Dirk. That was my decision. And I had talked to Kiko about it, but it was pretty much a no-brainer once he came in and listened to him. Now, the part with getting Steve DiGiorgio to come in and play bass on the record, that was it wasn't so much out of desperation as it was, because that sounds terrible. Steve is such a wonderful man and such a talented performer.
Absolutely.
We got the absolute best guy we could possibly get. Thankfully, he was free. And then the part about touring came into play, and I just had this bolt out of the blue remind me James. And I don't know if I would have thought of James prior to the recording of the record, if he would have been on the record or not. But I mean, this is his record as much as it is Steve's. James has been he's had 2 records with Megadeth already. He's not some new guy that's just coming in for their first walk around bases.
He's such a great bass player. It's pretty amazing that he's available to come do it. And what a great kind of reunion. Lamenza's awesome.
Right. He is a good person.
Absolutely. The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead, the new Megadeth album. Again, the 16th. And 16 albums, Dave. That's a lot. To continue that creativity spark of writing. And this isn't just writing, a blues record. This is intricate metal that Megadeth does. And again, the songs that are out so far just continues that path of thrash metal greatness.
Thank you.
To continue to, and we'll wrap with this, but to continue to have that inspiration to keep going, to keep doing this, what is it that drives you?
It's just a love of music, and honestly, there's funny things I could say, like bills and mortgages and stuff like that.
Well, sure, that's obvious.
I love to play. Touring's the hard part. It's the 22 and a half hours in between the shows that is the hardest part. But we've got each other. We all care about each other a lot. Whenever we go through a problem, we all rally around one another. Whenever there's a victory, we're all sharing the victory together. This is a highlight of my career right now, watching what's going on with this record, because it's a renaissance for me. Having a record this I don't know. I don't want to blow my own horn, but having a record like this one right now, at this point in my life, where most people are on the other side of the mountain and they're weak and their songs are retreads. That's how most guys, that have been playing 40 years, they either can't do it very much anymore, or they get complacent. And for us, we just got hungrier and hungrier. I know that's some really bad grammar, but it is what it is.
You're speaking, it's vocabulary. It's fine. It's all good. Dave, thank you so much for your time. I do greatly appreciate it. I always love hearing from you, my friend. And looks like the future is still very bright for you and for Megadeth.
Thank you. Take care, buddy.
Cutter's Rockcast.
Don't forget to tune in. Exactly.